So hey guys, welcome back to the React Native course. In the last video, we have discussed about the class component in React Native. In this video, we are going to talk about state and props in React Native and using class component. So let's see. So we are gonna, in this video, we're going to define a state in a class component, and we're gonna see the value like while updating or changing the value, and we will also update that state. And in the last of the video, we will see that how to pass as a props in a class component. So let's see on the code quickly. So I'm going to open my VS Code. So you can see that in the last video we have seen that how to create a class component and how to handle on-press event in React Native in a class component, and how to create a child component like this. Okay, so let's understand the last code quickly, like summarizing this. So we have seen that class app, we have defined a class, basically name of your class, and we have to extend that component, and after that we gonna render method, and we have to return our all the component, and same for the child component. Now let's see, we're gonna learn about the state in React Native and by creating a counter app. So what is counter app? Counter app is just like whenever we're gonna show the counter, and whenever we click on increment, so it will increment the value by 1, and whenever we click on decrement, so it will decrement the value by 1. So let's see how we can build it up. So I'm going to erase all this code quickly. Okay, I'm going to write class app, and I'm going to extends component. Okay, and I have to import it. Now after that we're gonna have a render method. Okay, inside the render method I'm going to render my component. So you can see that return, and we're gonna see that here. Let me import the view as well from the React Native, and inside this we're gonna have a text component. So I imported that all as well. I'm gonna write learn state and props. Okay, so you can see that we are getting some error regarding this. And okay, so we are not exporting our component, so we have to export it default app. Now you can see that we are good to go, learn state and props. Okay, now we're gonna create a quickly a UI, good looking UI, and for that we're gonna have basically two things: the text, and it could be where we gonna show a but count, and we're gonna have a 2 button to increment the value with the title. Oh my goodness, the title will be increment, and another button will be for a decrement. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, 2 button. Now after that we gonna have one view, and I'm gonna style it quickly as we have already know how to style this stuff. Okay, now I'm going to create a style sheet. Const styles is equal to style sheet dot create. Okay, now inside here we can have a container. I'm gonna style this container as a flex one, justify content center, and I don't want to give align item center. Okay, now let's add this class name or style with the container. Style is equal to styles dot container. Perfect. Now you can see that the content come up in the center. Okay, now let's make it align items center, so it will went into the center. Align item, not align content. So it will basically justify content center makes the item in a vertically center, and align item center make it center by the horizontally. Okay, and flex, what does flex 1 do? Basically it will take the whole width of your screen. Perfect. Now let's style this also. Style, and we're gonna have a styles dot button container. Okay, so we can have a button container, and let's quickly style this and display as a flex direction is a call row. Perfect. And justify content will be space between, and we can see nothing happen. So let me apply another style called space around. Oh, nothing happened. That's weird. Okay, let's give some kind of margin horizontal as a 20, and let's see. So basically what is happening now, we have defined align item center, and it is aligning the items in the center, and that's why it's not applying this style. So let me do like this quickly. So justify content space around. So what is happening quickly, let's see. So the button went to the center, and if I let's make the text also in the center. So we're gonna have a heading, okay, and the text align will be center, okay. Font size will be 30 for now. Color will be black, perfect. Now let's see, we're gonna add this style is equal to styles dot heading, perfect. Now we can get rid of this like quickly. For now I don't think we're gonna, okay, let's leave it out also. Let's put it here also. Style is equal to styles dot heading, perfect. So we're gonna create a one state, okay. Let's quickly create a state. How do we create a state? So we're gonna use a constructor method. Like when this constructor call, basically whenever the class is going to initialize, at that point of time constructor will get called, okay. And we are getting error that this has been not initialized super. So whenever we have to call constructor, so we have to call super method inside it, otherwise we'll get error. So what does super method do? Basically it will get all the quality, it will get all the properties whatever this component provide, perfect. Now to create a state or to initialize a state in class component, we have to write like this dot state, okay, and we can define all the state whatever we want. So I'm just going to define a state of count as a 1, perfect. Now how to read this state in our render method? To read this state, basically what we have to do, we have to do like this dot state, okay. We can see that we have state, inside state we have called count, perfect. Now we can see that this state dot count is a 1, perfect. Now what we want to achieve, like whenever we click on increment or decrement, the value get increment, and if we click on decrement, the value get decrement, perfect. Now let's see how we can do. So I'm going to create another function called handle increment, and I'm going to use an arrow function, and I'm going to use this dot. So whenever to update the state, we have another method called set state, okay. Now of set state, what we have to do, basically we have to update the we can update it. Basically how we can update it, this dot state dot count +1, so it will update this value, as simple as that. You can see that. Now we can call this function like this on press, and oh my bad, and we can call this function like this dot handle increment, and let's see. So whenever we click on increment, so you can see that it's incrementing the value. How amazing now. So let's understand what is happening here. So whenever we click on this dot set state, it will just updating this key. So we have a called set state method which help us to update the state in class component, and same we have a in functional component set state method or dispatcher function which is used to update this, okay. Now we can see that this dot state dot count +1, it will just increment the count, as simple as that, okay. Now what we want to achieve next, like we want to achieve the decrement of function also. So let's see how we can do. So we're gonna to have a on press event, and we're gonna have a let's create a function called handle decrement. So how we can define handle decrement, okay. Now we're gonna have an arrow function and this dot set state, and we can do like this. So there's another way which I'm gonna try right now. So we get the previous state, okay. Let me do like this. So this dot set state provides in the parameter called previous state, okay. Now we can do like this, and what I'm gonna do, basically I'm going to update the count as a previous state dot count -1, okay. So what is gonna do, basically previous state gonna provide me the previous all the state, and I'm just updating the count key, okay. So it will not update, okay. Let's see what is the error we're gonna get after this calling this function or something. What is gonna happen? So if I click on increment, so it's working well. If I click on decrement, so you can see it is not working. That is the reason, because we have to return like this. We have to do like this. Okay, we have to return an object now, and whenever we have object, we don't need colon. Okay, now let's me format this, and you can see that if I click on decrement, it is started decrementing. How amazing, perfect. So we have seen that like what is, how to create a, how to update state, how to create a state in React. Let's summarize this basically. So we have we have created a class component, class app extend component, and we have instead the constructor method. So whenever the component get mount, whenever the UI or the code runs, the first of time the constructor will get called, and after that it will call the super method, and we get all the qualities of that class, like all the qualities of app. And after that we have a this dot set state. We define the state like this, and we have defined a count as an initial value is a 1, and we have created another function called handle increment. And whenever we click the user, so we are updating that state using this dot set state method. Okay, and count is equal to this dot state dot count plus 1. It will increment that count. Now whenever we click on handled increment, we are like updating the value again, this dot set state, and inside here we get the previous state. You can achieve like this also, but I'm trying just showing you, like we can also do like this. So in the parameter we are getting the previous state. Now after that we are returning an object where we have count, where we are updating the count like just by the minusing the previous value. Okay, we have styled this container, like we can see that the count, and we are calling this function using this dot handle increment and this dot, and to read this value we are using this dot state dot count. Perfect. Now let's see how to pass the data from parent to child component. So I'm going to create a child component quickly here, class child. Okay, my bad, we have to extend the component. Okay, component, and we're gonna have a render method. Okay, so we're gonna have a render method, and inside the render method I'm just returning quickly text, and we're gonna show like I am child component. Okay, now after that we're gonna have let's style this also. So we can style like this, styles dot heading. So you can see that nothing render on the UI. Let's call this child component of the button. So we can see that we had called the function button, and we can see the I'm child component. Now what we want to do, basically we want to pass this count state to the child component. So how we can pass, basically to pass this we can have like this count, and we can do like this dot state dot count. Okay, now after that to read this count, what we have to do, we can do like this. Let me show you how to read this value. To read this value we have to write this dot props dot count. Okay, now you can see that. Awesome. So we can see, or we can pass the data in a child component like this. Perfect. Now let's suppose you want to read in a constructor method, or you want to use this. So you can use like this dot props dot count. It will return the data. Awesome. Now people will usually ask you what is the difference between state and props. Okay, so its state are mutable, like you can update the value, but the props value cannot be mutable. Basically what I'm trying to say, we are updating the value of state, but we are passing a state like this dot props count. You can't update that value. Okay, that's a point one. And state are mutable, and like props are used to pass the data from one component to another component, and state are used to manage the state of our application. I think that's all about state and props. Please let me know if you guys have any question. I know the video become lengthy, but yeah, thanks a lot. We will catch up you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.